Okay, well, there's been a lot of stuff being dropped on the internet and everything, teasers and so forth, about what's going to happen in Avengers Age of Ultron. It's based on a storyline from the comics, but it's going to be completely different from the comics because in the comics, Ultron is a cybernetic being with an artificial intelligence that is created by Henry Pym, who is Giant Man, Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, and a million other characters over the years. And they can't, of course, get into all that yet. They haven't even done the Ant-Man movie. So they're going to jump it ahead. They're going to jump it by having Tony Stark create it, the artificial intelligence. It's going to be sort of based on his Jarvis artificial intelligence, but with the personality kind of extracted, the emotions extracted. And that, now I'm going ahead now, and that's going to lead to, that same type of artificial intelligence is going to lead to the creation of the Vision, which is an android that winds up becoming a member of the Avengers. But in the Age of Ultron, from what I've heard, it's going to basically be this artificial intelligence, kind of goes wacko. It's designed by Tony to protect the Earth, and at some point it snaps and comes to the conclusion that to protect the Earth, he has to get rid of humanity, because that's what's wrecking the Earth. And he's not wrong, but, you know, we kind of want to stay living. So that's what that movie's about. But in that movie, there are going to be seeds, you know, dropped for future films, like the whole thing in the next Captain America film, with Captain America Civil War, which is also based on a plotline from the comics, but it's going to be condensed into one movie. I don't know how they can do that, but in Age of Ultron, they've already shown things like Stark, Iron Man going up against the Hulk, and Captain America going up against Stark, and they show a thing with all of them decimated, Ultron standing over them, and there's a one shot of Captain America's shield broken. So you know there's going to be a lot of conflict, not only between Ultron and the Avengers, but within the Avengers themselves. They've made that clear. And that plants the seeds for the Civil War, which is where all this damage to the world and everything brings the government to start thinking about, we need to control these super beings that are just out of control. And Stark sides with the politicians and so forth as far as feeling that in order to be absolved of responsibility for any damage that they do in protecting the world, heroes should come forward, give up their secret identities, register with the government, and sort of become part of the government's armed forces. And Captain America, who a lot of people think of as the soldier, but he's actually, from the very beginning, he's been shown to be much more sympathetic to the common man and much more in support of the Constitution rather than politics. And he actually comes out then against Tony Stark. So he's fighting against this idea of registration and legalization and all that sort of thing, and in favor of more freedom, of people being allowed to keep their personal identities secret and still be able to use their powers. And so, of course, this is the Civil War between two different groups of heroes fighting each other. And that's going to allow Marvel to then bring in a lot of little characters that you wouldn't normally see. They'll be popping up, I'm sure, in the background and so forth in Avengers, and then in Civil War. They're bound to pop up there too. And that helps seed things for future movies like Black Panther and Inhumans and, you know, the future Avengers movies. And then they'll move on to Avengers 3 and 4, which is going to be actually one storyline split in two because it's such a big story, and it's kind of the Infinity Gauntlet story where Thanos, the big bad of the Marvel Universe, gets these all-powerful gems that when they're all put together in this gauntlet, it gives him infinite power over everything. And these gems have already been appearing in past movies. So, you know, you got to look at some of the scenes in past movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and so forth, and you'll see that there's a gem here and there's a gem there. He's going to collect these, and that's also might be one of the reasons that it's going to take two movies, because the first movie might be setting up that he finally collects all the stones and gets them into the gauntlet, and then the second movie will be the big battle against him when he's got this Infinity Gauntlet all put together. and it's excellent the way they're doing it, with the way they're dropping hints and dropping seeds, and just allowing the Marvel Cinematic Universe to blossom in a sort of natural progression. And it's nice the way it kind of pushes you. Like, if you've seen Avengers, then you kind of want to see Black Panther or Inhumans. You know, Marvel can't use the mutant thing because the rights to that X-Men sword has been leased to Sony. So in this next Avengers movie, they're going to have two in the comics. They were mutants. They're going to have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, brother and sister. And the buzz is that since they can't call them mutants, they're going to call them Inhumans. So they're going to do that, they'll have to change their backstory, because if they're going to, in the Inhumans movie, if they're going to reveal the Inhumans to be who they're supposed to be from the comics, then Pietro and Wanda, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, cannot be mutants. They have to be something different, which will be revealed in spoilers. If you want to find out all about Inhumans, you can go back and read the comics. You know? And that kind of sums up where it's all going at this point.
It's a totally huge universe that they're trying to
right. They've
bring into the cinematic
They've had
world.
what 50 some years of these stories, and they have built this huge, intricate universe. And even when it got so complicated that it didn't make sense, they were then able to write retro stories to kind of correct things. So they've got it all done in the comics, and now they're doing the cinematic universe, which is a faster universe. It's got to grow faster than the comic. They don't have 50 years. They got to get this done. If they can't keep people on board from year to year, they'll lose their attention span, you know? So it's almost like television, you know, sequential television, weekly television. Marvel's got to do like almost monthly movies to keep people interested, or at least drop things on the internet, which they've been doing. And from their schedule, it looks like they're going to be doing like 3 movies a year, which, so every quarter there'll probably be a Marvel movie, which is like, it's almost like watching television, but you know, it hopefully will keep people on board. You know, they'll keep riding this wave, this Marvel wave, and be interested in the ever-expanding universe, you know, because they haven't even gotten into like all the mystical, magical part of the universe. Right now they're kind of focusing on the technological part of the universe. But they have got Doctor Strange as a film on their roster, and that'll open up the magic side of things, you know. He's huge. He is the center of the Marvel Universe when it comes to magic. He's the Sorcerer Supreme. And so once they introduce him, that just, boom, that's it. You got the technological, you got the magical, and it's just wide open. You can go anywhere and everywhere. They're out into the galaxy with Guardians of the Galaxy, so they're doing interplanetary stuff. So they're doing it fast.
They're going for everything.
Yeah. There's something there for everything. There's fantasy, there's science fiction, there's, you know, good old pulp adventure, you know. So, you know, and it is interesting how they were introduced. They were saying this film's coming out, this film's coming out. They were kind of like letting you know that there's going to be a couple of films every year, and then DC, I guess, trying to play catch up, dropped their thing, going, oh, we're going to do, boom, I forget how many it was, like 9 films or something in the next 4 years or something. But they came out with their list of films, and so then Marvel had to like one-up them and go, well, okay, here's our schedule from now until 2020. You know, take that. You know. So yeah, it's just like back in the days with the comics. They were always kind of like doing that in the comics, you know. Friendly rivalry, you know.
Friendly rivalry.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing happening again, only.
It's like they're almost,
the general audience.
Yeah, it's funny for me as a person who grew up with the comics, I'm seeing the same thing play out in cinema. You know, it's like they're just moving comics into cinema and television, and it'll be the same thing for these next generations as it was for me. You know, they'll see this whole thing grow, and it'll be DC and Marvel, and I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down a few decades away, they'll you know, Time Warner, if they're still around, and Disney, if they're still in control, will get to put their heads together and go, hey, let's do a crossover of Justice League and Avengers and stuff. It happened in the comics, you know, the publishers got together. Somewhere down the line it may happen in the movies, which, you know, I just said that. I don't know if anybody's thought of that before. There may be a lot of fanboys out there just going, ah, you know, but that would be so cool. I'd like to see that. I hope it happens in my lifetime. You know? That would be nice.
A lot of movies to see.
We have movies to see, yeah, forever and ever, it seems like. So good luck to all of them. You know?
Very good. Thanks a lot, Glenn.
Hey, you are welcome.